We've seen the prepared testimony of Ms. Kraninger here. What are you hearing from that testimony so far, and is it answering your questions?
I think that the new director is doing a good job of trying to establish a positive working relationship with the committee. There are a lot of hard questions for her about what's been happening in the last year and a half under Mick Mulvaney. And so I think there's a certain amount of frustration and a certain amount of asking her, are you going to reverse course and be the director who will stand up for American consumers?
So just reading her prepared testimony, the main thing I took away was she said, I expect to emphasize stability, consistency, and transparency as hallmarks as we mature the agency and institutionalize the many partnerships that are key to our success. How much of the problem has been really instability, a lot of turmoil, because there has been a lot of turmoil? How much of it has just been the overall direction?
Well, one of the issues is that Mick Mulvaney reduced the size of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and closed certain departments, including the Student Loan Ombudsman. And so to the extent that Mr. Mulvaney kind of was dismantling the Bureau, I think Ms. Kraninger has some important work to do in stabilizing it. With regard to her statement that she wants to promote flexibility and transparency and consistency, those are really great buzzwords. Everybody's for those things. And I think what this hearing is about asking more detailed questions. Will you commit to doing the hard work on payday loans? Will you commit to protecting student loan borrowers? And really digging in to understand what meaning does she put behind those catchphrases?
Well, that's exactly right. Payday lending was a big issue that they were moving forward on under the prior regime, and Mick Mulvaney, as I understand it, put a stop to it. Is that a priority for the Congress?
It is a priority for the Congress. Payday lending has been a constant problem in this country and continues to be a real problem in many, many states, including my home state of California. And when I get back to the committee in just a few minutes, I'm going to be asking Ms. Kraninger about her views on payday lending.
Obviously, the Democrats on Capitol Hill have a different orientation, I think it's fair to say, from President Trump. He is against regulation overall. He's made no secret of that. Is there common ground you could find with this administration for the CFPB to really do things that President Trump would be at least comfortable with and that would really pursue the goals that you're seeking?
Look, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau isn't just there to help consumers who vote one way or vote the other way. It's there for all Americans who go into the marketplace to take out a car loan, who borrow student loans, who use credit cards to have student loans. There's nobody in this country, Democrat or Republican, who likes to get cheated or ripped off. And I hope that our president will recognize that, and I hope that Ms. Kraninger will be given the independence to do her duty to American consumers. That's what I expect of her. At
the same time, Congresswoman, as you know so well, there are some powerful lobbies on the other side of this. Some people who really can have their businesses affected profoundly. How much of this is ideological and how much is lobbying, to put it very crassly?
Look, I'm part of a freshman class, many of whom do not take corporate PAC money. I don't take money from people who work at the largest banks in this country. And so I'm there to be an independent voice for the American consumers. And I think we're seeing a number of members of my freshman class bring that independence. We're not there to work for special interests or for lobbyists. We're there to work for the American people. And I expect the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to do the same.
Do you have a sense thus far from Ms. Kraninger, of exactly what her mission is, how she sees the mission of CFPB overall, quite apart from individual regulations such as payday lending?
So we have been hearing from her about that. I think one of the things that's happening in this first hearing, and there will be follow-up hearings, is that she's trying to set a tone of being cooperative with the hearing, with the Congress, with the committee. And I think that's important. But she's also making clear that she doesn't know specifics. She can't answer that question. She needs to do more research. So I think while she's being welcoming to the kinds of questions that we're asking her, that it's pretty clear that she's new on this job. She's never worked in the financial markets or consumer financial space before. So she has a learning curve, and we need her to get on it and get climbing it quickly.